Won't you come and meet me at the movies? Won't you come and watch a flick with me? Famous scenes with drama queens and heroes acting out there on a silver screen. Come grab a seat, popcorn is on me.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Hi there, welcome to Meet Me at the Movies. Noel T. Manning II here, and I hope you are ready because today we're going to take you on a ride. We've got several interviews, maybe even a few reviews, and maybe just some snippets to get you interested in what you can watch in theaters and on your home screens. Hello and welcome to this Meet Me at the Movies Screen Scene Spotlight. I'm Noel T. Manning II, and director Baz Luhrmann knows how to create visual experiences. You look at Moulin Rouge and there is something captivating about the way that film looks. And then if you look at the biopic of Elvis the same way, there's something immersive about it. Well, now Baz has gone back to the king with Epic, Elvis Presley in concert, and he's taken rare footage and audio that's never been seen or heard probably since it was recorded, and he's created something that is beyond a documentary. It's beyond a musical performance. It's something entirely different. It's a cinematic musical poem. Today we're excited to be able to have Baz Luhrmann to talk about this project, why it called to him, and what the heart of the film reveals about the king of rock and roll.
Hey, the light's on. I can see you. Hello out there.
Hi, this is Noel T. Manning II with Meet Me at the Movies. It's so good to see you, Baz. Thanks.
Hey, how are
joining us.
you? Nice to meet you, man.
Hey, man, I really appreciate the opportunity to spend time with you. Epic, for me, was both a backstage pass and it was a personal invitation to
Yeah.
serve as a roadie with the king.
Yeah.
Loved the editing throughout, and especially it grabbed me during that Polk Salad Annie
Yeah.
segment,
Thank you.
bringing together the multiple performances and those rehearsals. A perfect take there.
Yeah.
I'd love for you to talk about when you started working through the footage. Was there a moment that you realized this film was going to be a different kind of experience?
Yes, no. We found that actually in these salt mines where they store all negative, thought there'd be a box. It was 65. Peter Jackson helps us bring it back to the quality you're seeing. I mean, then we find an audio tape. Never before heard of him just telling his life story. And then we said, that's it. Let's just get out of the way. Let Elvis come to us and tell his story. And that, I think, is why it's having such an effect on generations. We're seeing, fans taking their children and their grandchildren all going together, and all of them coming out going, I didn't even know who Elvis was. Who is that guy? I love him, you know?
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up because anybody who did get a chance to see Elvis live said there was something about the electricity,
Yeah.
about that charisma and the connection,
Yeah.
and you were able to do that. So I'm wondering, what was the biggest challenge in translating that stage presence into something that was cinematic, especially for the audiences who never
Yeah.
got a chance to see him or even hear about him?
Yeah, well, we found the footage, but with no sound. But then I eventually found the actual mag tape, so it's his voice and the band. We had to help a little bit with the orchestration sometimes, a little bit with the suites sometimes, only one or two takes. The suites are great in the beginning of it. But the thing is, we were able to put it in 5/1. I can guarantee you. So please take a couple of people who are not interested in Elvis afterwards, post it on my social channel. I want to see the reaction because continually people say, I really felt like I was actually in the concert. People clap and dance during the screening. And please, be as noisy as you like in this movie. You can bother the patrons. It's okay.
Because it is an experience. That is the reason why. You have spent years exploring the story of Elvis and coming back to him now through this epic lens. Did you discover something new about him or maybe something that surprised you?
Yes, I did. I discovered just how funny he was and his humor and the fact that I think he wanted to make everybody in the room feel comfortable. So he's always sending himself up, even on stage, because he's almost too beautiful looking in this footage. He sings like, you realize that he actually does the music himself. you know, in those days, he didn't have a stylist. I showed some kids, you know, teens. Well, I saw it on the show actually, watching him, and they were really young teens. Are going like, "Wow, man, he's so fashionable." I mean, like he stole Benson Boone's look, you know. And I'm sort of thinking, well, it's maybe the other way around. But yes, he looks so great. He sounded so great. So he sends himself up because he wants people to feel comfortable. You know, it's kindness, it's empathy, it's warmth.
Was there a moment in the editing room where you felt the presence of Elvis rather than him just being a subject of something you were working on?
Oh yeah. Oh, so much. I think all the way through, I think, you know, he says in the film, there's an image and there's the man. And he says, it's very hard to live up to an image. And in this film, I think I can now say it because enough other people have said it in the reviews, amazing reviews for the film, is it's probably the first time you really get to know Elvis the man. And the man is a person of great empathy, great kindness. And I think we could do with a bit of that. And he says it, he does it through his song. Look at the songs he sings, you know?
We can always do with a little bit of empathy and positivity. And Boz, thanks for bringing us this film. And thanks for what you do. It's great to see you, buddy.
Thank you, my friend. Well, let's play the hell out of it, as Elvis says, you know?
You can find Epic in theaters now, and this film is not just a look back, it's a feeling, it's an experience, and in Baz Luhrmann's hands, it's also a reminder of why Elvis remains so iconic. It wasn't just what he did on stage, but it was how he made the audiences feel. It's rare for a film to be able to resurrect not just performances, but presence. This one does it. That is the gift of Epic. It offers the presence of the king of rock and roll.
Hi, and thank you so much for joining us here on Meet Me in the Movies. This is Thomas Manning, and I've got a conversation I'm really excited to share with you all with Mr. Stephen Lang. He's an actor you'll recognize from a variety of films from his 40-plus year career, from working with directors like Michael Mann and James Cameron, notably on the Avatar films, to taking on stories of real-life heroes like he does in his new film, The Optimist. And this film is about a man named Herbert Heller, who survived Auschwitz and then later in life shared his story with thousands. Herbert sadly passed away a few years ago at the age of 92, but his legacy lives on in the people he moved and inspired with his story. And it's very much alive in this film, starring Lang and Elsie Fisher as well, directed by Finn Taylor. So thank you so much to Stephen Lang for sharing his time with us here on Meet Me in the Movies. And I'll pitch us to that conversation now as we discuss The Optimist and the life of Herbert Heller with Stephen Lang. All right. Hey, my name is Thomas Manning with Meet Me in the Movies. Stephen, it's great to meet you.
Hello, Thomas Manning. Nice to meet you as well.
Absolutely. And I appreciate your time, and I'll head right into it. So I'm curious what you recall about the first time you learned of Herbert's story. Do you have any memories of your first reaction to learning of his life?
I was intrigued. I was not altogether surprised or shocked by what he had done and what he had not done. I was not because you know, I've worked over I understand something about guilt, not personal guilt, but I've played it, I've examined it, I've played soldiers who have lived through traumatic experiences and did not want to talk about it. And that essentially, and Herbert lived through, as he put it, he was at the end, he witnessed the end of the world. And he lived through it. And he not only lived through it, he came through it with how do you put it? With a good attitude. You know, I mean, the film could not be more aptly named, and it took a long time to name this film. But The Optimist is what it is, and I like the idea. And I think I respond to this intuitively without putting it into words. But I understand it's very fascinating when optimism can be an act of defiance itself, which is essentially what this young fella did. You know what I mean? He remained firmly positive about life. You know, it's a little bit like when Anne Frank said, despite everything, I still believe that people are good at heart. You know, it's that kind of attitude that I think enabled him to live through such dire circumstances.
Very, very beautifully said. And this was your first time working with director Finn Taylor. So, what are some aspects of his style and his voice as a filmmaker that stand out to you as an actor and made him the right person to tell this story?
You know, there's a school of Northern California filmmakers who are kind of cussedly independent, I would say. And I think Finn fits into that very well. Around the Bay Area, you know, they go their own way in various. I think Coppola is sort of an example of that himself. You know, even though he's worked studio, there's always been something incredibly independent about Coppola. So there's something in the water or the air up in Northern California that is very, very different than you're going to get down in Hollywood and other places. And Finn that's been his base. Northern California for a long time, and he makes his movies there, and he's made some fine films, you know. And I think that this came to me, and I was and working with him, I found him to be extremely collaborative, just a good all around knowledgeable filmmaker, you know, from every aspect. Gave me plenty of room to kind of explore, but he also gave me some good firm guidance.
Yeah. And a small aspect of Herbert that I was taken with was his fascination with nature. We see, you know, subtle hints of that multiple times throughout the film. So what did that piece of knowledge about Herbert and his, you know, his fascination directly with nature, what did that give to you as an actor?
I think it just contributes to the outlook, you know, to the reason, you know, when one gets up and the first thing one says is, "What a beautiful day this is." And I know in my mind that Herbert did that on many, many occasions. What a glorious, glorious day it is for a walk. That in itself it's part of what defines his nature. Always looking for the positive. It's not so much different than you may remember he rewards himself and others with chocolate. You know, chocolate is right there with good weather. It's all the good things in life. It seems to me the positive things in life, and one of the most wonderful things about it is that what did he do? He opened a store for kids. You know, Heller's Kids, everything you need for a child, from bassinet to bottle. And I just think again that's just another. Right there, it's up there with nature. It's something that's positive. It's an influence it's a reason to live, a reason to get up in the morning and move forward.
Well, Stephen, it was a privilege to chat with you today. I appreciate your time and thank you for your part in bringing this story to us. And hopefully we share more conversations in the future.
Thank you very much, Mr. Manning.
Thank you for joining us right here on Meet Me at the Movies. We will take a quick intermission. We're going to be back with more interviews, reviews, and much, much more.
Won't you come and meet me at the movies? Won't you come and watch a flick?
Want to stay connected to everything happening at Cleveland Community College? C19's monthly show, In the Loop, brings you the stories, updates, and the highlights that matter most right from campus. From program spotlights and upcoming events to alumni interviews and college updates, In the Loop keeps you informed and engaged. Catch home game schedules for all CCC athletics, plus fun and meaningful conversations with the Yeti along the way. Whether you're a student, employee, alumni, or supporter of CCC, this is your inside look at life on campus. Tune in monthly on C19 and stay in the loop with Cleveland Community College.
Hi, I'm Tim Foster, your host for Blue and Bold monthly right here on C19 TV. Get to know the coaches and student athletes of Cleveland Community College athletics on Blue and Bold. We go in depth as we discuss cross country, track and field, volleyball, baseball, men and women's basketball, and softball. Catch Bull and Bold airing on C19 TV and online at c19.tv.
Won't you come and meet me at the movies? Won't you come and watch a flick?
Hello and welcome to this screen scene Meet Me at the Movies Spotlight. Noel T. Manning. the second here. And there are some films out there that entertain us. There are others that educate us. And then there are some that just become a part of who we are. Well, Morgan Neville knows how to do that. He is a multi-award winning filmmaker bringing stories to life that reflect childhood heroes like Mr. Fred Rogers or the comedy genius of Steve Martin. So when Morgan decided to turn the lens on Paul McCartney in Man on the Run, following the years after the Beatles and the formation of Wings, I was especially eager to see what story that Morgan would uncover. Because for me, McCartney has always been personal, and some of my earliest music memories are riding in the car with my mom and listening to Paul McCartney and then listening to Wings and discovering the power of the Beatles and what McCartney has to say within his music, within his words, and within his personality. I've had the chance to see McCartney live twice, including a concert that was broadcast and recorded live at the former Blockbuster Pavilion in Charlotte, and his presence on stage is captivating and it is enduring. Man on the Run feels both like a time capsule and also a revelation. So today, we're really excited to have Morgan Neville joining us to talk about Man on the Run. Hi, this is Noel T. Manning II from Screen Scene and Meet Me at the Movies. Morgan, it is so wonderful to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. And just at the beginning, I have to say that I see Fred Rogers over your shoulder. So that instantly grabs my attention. I love it.
Well, I before we dive into Man on the Run, I just want to tell you that Won't You Be My Neighbor remains one of my all-time favorite films. It is a go-to reminder of the power of kindness and positivity that our world needs always. And I just want to thank you for that. And I appreciate that so much.
Yeah. Well, thanks for spreading the gospel.
Absolutely. Well, when you approach somebody like Fred Rogers, or in this instance, Paul McCartney, figures who have this enormous cultural mythology, how do you approach finding that human being beneath the icon?
I mean, particularly with somebody like Paul McCartney, of which there's so much that has been said, written, and documented. You know, I really felt that there was a part of Paul's story that hadn't really been explored. And somebody who's devoured Beatles films and books my entire life, it was really this period of time after the Beatles break up and the period of time where he actually struggles greatly. And, you know, I think I said to him, you know, I really wanted to make a film more about his emotional journey than kind of the albums to album kind of thing, you know, and in a way, the idea that Paul McCartney is a musical genius, let's put that on the shelf. You know, we all know Paul McCartney is a musical genius. Let's make a film about a guy named Paul who's dealing with the breakup of his band and has to ask himself these questions. So, you know, for me, that was a great starting point.
Morgan, I really loved that kinetic pacing of the first few minutes of this documentary. It set the stage for where the world was and where Paul was at that particular place and time in his life and the questions that were starting to unfold. I was also impressed by all the off-camera interviews, how they were woven into the story. Was that always a plan for both of those, the off-camera voiceovers and that opening?
It kind of was, you know, I mean, I never filmed any of the interviews. I just I knew I wanted it to be audio, in part because the interviews could be different. They could be more intimate. I could do hours and hours of them, which I did with Paul. But also suddenly the story is present tense. You know, it's not older people looking back on 50 years ago. You're just kind of in the story of the time and you're never breaking it. You know, you're going through the 1970s. And so that part of it, I really liked. And the opening with the Beatles and opening with the song The End was something I was like, oh, I kind of love that idea of starting with the end.
I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. Morgan, as you were conducting the interviews, looking through the research, going through all of these archives, were there things that surprised you? Were there treasures that you found along the way and you said to yourself, I cannot wait to share this with an audience?
Oh, so many things. I mean, there were the things that I found in the world, you know, odd news clips, like the clip of him getting busted for having some marijuana plants at his farm in Scotland in the early 70s, just that were so funny, or photos we came across. But Paul's archive itself was pretty incredible. And there was a lot of stuff in there that people hadn't seen. And, it helped that Paul married a photographer, Linda. So she documented a lot. I mean, for people who were living on a rural farm, they sure took a lot of pictures.
Absolutely. If there are any final thoughts you want to make sure that audiences know before they head into Man on the Run, what would that be?
I mean, I've noticed now screening it for different people that if you are a fan, there is still a lot to be learned, but also screening for people that don't really know the story, even for college students. It's kind of a story about how to be an artist in the world. And, what are the big important questions you have to ask yourself?
Morgan, thanks for offering the vulnerability that we see within this film. And thank you for all that you do for documentary. And I appreciate your time today here on Screen Scene and Meet Me at the Movies.
Absolutely. Great talking to you.
Man on the Run is not about chart-topping hits or fame. It's really about starting over. It's about navigating doubt, building something new, and holding on to the people and the passions that matter most to you. For those who grew up with McCartney's music woven into their earliest memories, this documentary is more than a personal time machine. It's actually a reminder that invention is possible at any stage of your life. Again, I'd like to thank Morgan Neville for taking time to be with us and for sharing this deeply human portrait. It's one that explores myth, it explores music, and it explores meaning below and beyond the surface. Man on the Run is available on Amazon Prime. Hello and welcome to Screen Scene and Meet Me at the Movies. Noel T. Manning II here, and I think there are a few series in recent memory that have captured the cultural imagination quite like Severance. It's stylish, it's unsettling, and it's philosophical. Don't ask me to say that word 3 times really fast. But beyond all that, it's really deeply human, and it's doing so in this kind of sterile environment of corporate walls. At the center of the emotional attention is Britt Lower's unforgettable portrayal of Helly. She's a character that is navigating identity, autonomy, rebellion, and the consequence in ways that feel both intimate and also epic. Lower has earned multiple accolades for her work, and it's recognition that speaks not just to her performance, but to her presence as a character. We're incredibly happy today to have Britt Lower joining us right here on Screen Scene and Meet Me at the Movies to talk about Severance. Britt, it is absolutely wonderful to see you.
Oh, that's so nice. It's wonderful to see you too.
I tell you, big fan of the show. Loved it since I first heard about the concept. And as I continued to get into it, I said, wow, there's something special about this show. I find it so compelling that it has this ability to challenge an audience to think deeply and to ask some pretty deep questions. Wondering if you remember that moment that you realized that this series was more than just another sci-fi drama.
That's a great question, and thank you for those thoughtful observations. I feel the same way. There's, no question. It was just literally the moment I started reading the pilot. I was hooked. I was so drawn in, especially by the opening scene. You see Helly R. on an office table, sprawled out, waking up, having no idea who she is, where she is, what she's doing there, and immediately having this intense drive to get out of there, primarily, but also to get to the bottom of why any of this is happening. So from an actor perspective, it was a true gift that Dan Erickson, our writer, wrote, because I'm on this clear path and then surrounded by this incredible ensemble of characters who are also on a really hungry mission in their own right.
I'd like to follow up on that aspect of the ensemble that you have with Severance. It's so amazing, and it works so well together. And Severance itself is this high concept world, yet for me, and I think for many audience members, it works best because of the relationships. How much of that comes from the trust that you have as cast members working with each other, especially in those scenes where the audience may understand more about what's going on than the actual characters do.
Right. Yeah, you bring up a great word. I mean, trust is something that we really built together filming season one right in the heart of COVID and practicing all of these new protocols. And, the only time that we really saw one another's face was when Ben would yell action. And so in between, we were completely kind of isolated from each other. And so that trust was really built inside of the scenes within the characters, and that that quality of warmth inside of a really cold, brutal environment. The warmest thing is the space between the two actors.
Britt, your character has definitely spoken to so many out there who are watching Severance. When you were immersing yourself into Helly's arc, in what way did her rebellion speak to you? Was it something that was political, psychological, deeply human, or something else altogether?
Oh, that's such a great question. I have been so touched and moved by getting to be in Helly's shoes across 2 seasons now, and it's shifted my way of thinking in so many ways. But I think the primal human nature of kind of wondering if there's an inner child, which there is in all of us, who we're maybe suppressing or not letting be expressed fully, is kind of my biggest takeaway. That like every person, and for that matter, like every character I will ever play from now on, I'm going to wonder about those parts and which parts are being allowed to show up in any given environment.
You've been able to get so much awards, love, and attention for your role and also this series itself, including the SAG love that's out there. Does that kind of recognition change the way that you look at the character or the series, or does it just deepen your connection to the work itself?
Oh my goodness, it's incredibly meaningful to be seen by my peers. It is a privilege to be an actor. I love this job. It's wonderfully hard and fun, and it is a team effort. So the larger collective team of actors to like kind of just give me this like tap on my shoulder, it feels really good. Yeah, I couldn't be more grateful to and to be a part of the ensemble that we have, which is full of my actual heroes in life, to get to stand by them, and for my performance to really be shaped by these titans of the industry. That's not lost on me either.
Britt, we are thankful for you. We are thankful for the series, and blessings and peace to you. And we just keep getting excited about what you're going to bring to us next.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.
See ya. On the surface, Severance may look like it's about systems and structures, but at its core, it's about people and about the courage to question who we are. Britt Lower continues to bring power to this role, and she challenges audiences every single episode. Severance is streaming now on Apple TV Plus, and we're so thankful that Britt chose to join us today on Screen Scene and Meet Me at the Movies. Until next time, I'm Noel T. Manning II. Thanks for watching, and that is a wrap.
To view until we meet again. Next time we see you, we'll gladly fill you in. We'll tell about the happy and the sad ones. We'll talk about the good ones and the bad ones. Many films to view till we meet again.